It was today. I began to move away from 1905. I went to the wardrobe and selected an appropriate costume. It was a conservative suit of a pleasing cut. I put on my dark shoes, I knotted my tie. Scrutinizing my appearance in the mirror on the back wing of the armoire, I could not help but feel a certain anxiety about my impetuous act. Would the double-breasted waistcoat betray me? At the door, I stopped one last time to check my appearance. I settled my hat at a discreet angle, took up my silver-knobbed cane. I closed the door behind me and walked quickly away. Never to return. I left the key in the lock, let others enter if they dared. Walking down the street, I was gradually enveloped by melancholy. The world was not as I had come to expect it to be. Knights, crippled rabbits, cats, little men, all hurried by me in a rush. People went by, masked in a loathsome crowd. They were unsavory, unwashed, their fumbling hands flapped in the pockets of overcoats that were unseemly and too large. A violet-eyed girl with her nose in a fan magazine hissed at me wickedly. Trains rumbled by. I saw men who swallowed the speeches of others. They stood close to their snapping lips, their legs spread, their mouths outstretched and eagerly gulping.
Go, 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 go.
Civic functionaries laboriously painted the days of the week on the sides of vast buildings, only to have their work painted over the next day by yet another functionary, marking yet another day. I watched a heavy-set man in a gray flannel suit who stood on a veranda, chomping on a cigar and holding up a little girl in the air by her armpits to show her the garden. He urged her to get on with it, thrusting her this way and that, pointing out 15 different things to be seen. He articulated her through these positions with consummate skill. It was hard not to admire his discipline.
Tap, 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 tap! Tick-tock! Tick-tock! Tap, tap!
I passed a scene of sport. Spectators were feverish. Tension was high. Players scurried over the field, whipped to their tasks by masters of braggadocio, high-hatted personalities, gleamingly dressed, obvious favorites. On towering platforms, directors sat,
Tap! Tap!
adjusting the movements of those below, while the screams of the agonized participants were punctuated by bursts of heroic music.
Ticky-tock, 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 ticky-tock! Ticky-tock, 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 ticky-tock! Ticky-tock, 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 ticky-tock!
And the thunder of the crowd.
Tap! Tap!
I took a cheap place and watched the score mount.
Ticky-tock! Ticky-tock!
First this way, then the other. The possibility of victory seemed to pass mysteriously and without apparent logic from side to side.
Ticky-tock! 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 Ah! Ticky-tock! 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 Tap! 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 Ticky-tock! Ticky-tock! Ticky-tock!
Uncertain of the rules, Finding no one to enlighten me, I finally arose. My place was snatched by an eager child with bloody teeth. Cossacks trot idly down the street in patrols of 4. A man with a microphone conducts their progress. Cafes are all boarded up. Only the very wealthy use alcohol. Cigarettes have been replaced by inhaling a chemical through wads of cotton that people carry in their pockets. Men on corners sell the fluid by tiny drops from little tins. I attempt to enter the Hotel Emperor. A favorite haunt of mine from the old days. But I'm barred. Hotels, it seems, are now used for an altogether different purpose, though no one will disclose to me what that purpose might be. Women, it appears, have different purposes as well. Secret to themselves, they are nothing now but legs surmounted by hair. They stride along dangerously. No one speaks to them, and they, not to each other. Some customs cannot be penetrated. A man is selling broken rings from a basket and attempts to entice me to buy. I am not so green as all that. I cluck my tongue at him and walk away. I'm careful to make several turnings farther on in case I have been observed. Somehow I cannot lose him. Oh, he gestures at my back. Tedious hours pass. I roam the city, but there is no satisfaction here, no escape. Buildings have grown together in such a way that most streets now are barely passable, yet no one seems to find this troublesome. Most light is shut out, and it is difficult for air to penetrate, so densely are the structures grown together. In rich neighborhoods, of course, the buildings have been cut back, though nothing in the world seems so spacious as I have been led to believe it might be. The buildings of the city, fecund, haphazard, knock-kneed, and tipping their heads together, leave only crevices and cracks at their feet. The populace wriggles and squirms through them like foul excretions. You move through most streets, cheek to cheek, beside others, uncomfortably close, breathing in their odors, their faces brushing yours, their contaminated garments in this way. I ran into a man I once knew. He was walking quickly, his shoulders hunched, fretfully maneuvering around the others. I recognized him only at that last instant when his face passed close to mine. I knew that face. I knew its importance to me. Yet I could not remember his name. The torture of memory. Still, my expression must have startled him into recognition. He paused and backed closer to the wall behind him. I made a courteous bow and extended my hand, hoping desperately that at the last moment his name might yet come. My friend, I cried, my dear friend, how wonderful, what good luck. But I could not disguise my alarm at his decayed condition. His ragged clothes, his matted hair, the wounds that ran with pus. He mumbled an unintelligible reply and waved me away, stumbling on.
Leave me in peace. Have you not done enough?
Deeply shaken, unaware of my crimes, but dreading now the punishment that was sure to come, I moved off slowly. Soon, the way I traveled opened out onto the river. I was surprised at the sudden disclosure of so much open space, giddy with joy. I made my way toward a clump of trees near the bank and was overcome by a returning feeling of well-being. I observe a painter with a long beard standing by the river. He is dressed in a casual yet elegant fashion of which I heartily approve. Just the right thing for a country afternoon. As the river flows by tranquilly beneath the overhanging willows, a boat slides by. In it is a couple. The man wears a striped blazer. The woman, a summer dress. She reaches for something by her feet, and moments later I see her open a lace parasol. There is a familiar sadness in her face. I struggle once more with the burden of the past, the key to which this woman somehow holds. The parasol hides her face from my gaze. The boat slides on through the dappled sunlight that shimmers off the water, approaching the painter. I see that the boat has not yet been included in his landscape. So far, all he has painted is the opposite bank, which appears on his canvas as a pleasant haze of half-disclosed forms. Suggested in it is perhaps a mill, perhaps a cluster of low cottages. Certainly one shape is that of a homely spire. The chief presence is the rich greenery bordering the river, and the river itself, a shining, streaming presence, the delightful hypnosis of light at play. I stand absorbed. The hands of the painter move slowly over his vision of the world, enriching it moment by moment. Hours pass. Night falls. I can no longer see the painter nor that which is painted. I sense my mission is fruitless. 1905 breathes at my back like an unsatisfied animal.